that even mean, Bowers Game Corner?
Ahoy there, YouTube! I'm back again today for another game review. Today I will be reviewing Lost Cities from Rio Grande Games. This is for 2 players and only 2 players. It is for ages 10 and up, and it'll take you anywhere from 20 to 40 minutes to play, depending on how many rounds you choose to play in the game. Judging by the name and the explorers on the front of the box, you can probably guess this is about you finding lost cities and exploring them, and the theme is really there, but it's not too in-depth because it is a Reiner Knizia game. He's a doctor, he's a mathematician. I swear he makes about every other game I play, but he makes a lot of math games, and this is a math game. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. On the front of the box, I do dig the artwork. They got the 2 explorers about to go into the lost mythical city there. And on the back, we have a brief description of, who knows, it's about exploring, and a picture of the cards and the board you're going to get. I dig the artwork on the back. Looking at the box itself, it's about, I'd say, 8 to 9 inches each way around. 8 to 9 here, 8 to 9 there, and about 1 inch or 2 inches high. So it is a pretty small game that won't take up too much room on your shelf. Will it earn the room on your shelf? Let's open this bad boy up and find out. Alright, so inside Lost Cities, let's go over what you're going to get inside. First and foremost, you're going to get your handy-dandy rule booklet, which I must say is a fantastic rule booklet. It is only 2 pages double-sided. This page doesn't even really count because it just has a picture. You'll use it once or twice, then you'll probably never need it again because they are very clear and clear about how you play the game. Also in the back they have how you can play a 4-player game, but we're not going to go into that because you'll actually need 2 copies of the game to do that, and we don't have 2 copies of the game. Next you're going to get your cards because this is a card game at its heart. You're going to get 2 different kinds of cards. First you're going to get these cards with numbers on it. They'll be numbered 2 through 10. So I have a yellow 7 and I have a blue 9. Every single card is going to have those numbers. So there'll be 2 for 10 of green, 2 through 10 of white, 2 through 10 of orange, etc., etc. And you're going to be sharing those cards with your opponent. So if your opponent has the white 8, you can never have the white 8 unless they lay it down to give to you, which we'll get to in a second. That's something to take into consideration. Also, you're going to get these multipliers. They have the handshake symbols on them. These are the cards that will kill you or they will make your game. Because in this game, you'll be trying to earn the most amount of points. Now, if you lay down these cards, you will be multiplying however many points you earn, and we'll go over that in the gameplay. But needless to say, these are very important cards, and you will have 3 of each color of cards. So there'll be 3 green handshakes, 3 red handshakes, etc., etc., that you will be sharing with your opponent. Last, you're going to get your board. The board is not the greatest board. It's a little bit wonky. Some of the colors, you might get a little bit confused. If you're colorblind, God forbid, this board is not going to do you too well. But luckily, it will not have any outcome on the gameplay because the gameplay really has not too much to do with the board. Speaking of gameplay, let's show you how it works. You are going to be launching expeditions, and they're going to be going in front of you. So my expeditions would be here, my opponent's expeditions would be there. You're going to deal out 8 cards, and you should always have 8 cards at the end of your round, and at the beginning for that matter. And you're going to look at your cards, and you're going to have to play a card, and then pick up a card. So, when you're playing a card, let's just have a look at my hand. I've got 10, 9, I have various different colors. I have a decent starting hand. But here's what you want to consider. You can launch an expedition, and once you launch an expedition, you are on the hook. And if you don't complete that expedition, you are in trouble. Now, what do you need to do when you launch an expedition? When you launch an expedition, you are going to need to make sure that you accumulate 20 points. So right now, if I were to have these 3 cards down, I have 2, I have 3, and I have 6 down. Currently, I have 11 points on yellow. So, if I just don't do anything else the rest of the game, and this is what happens, I end up losing 9 points at the end of this round, because 20 is the magical number. If you go over 20 with these cards, then you are going to gain points. If you are under 20, you are going to lose points. But as I mentioned, you can also get the multiplier. Let's pretend that this red multiplier is actually a yellow multiplier. So say this is what I had. I would still have 11, but it would be multiplied. So I would get -9 because I didn't reach 20, so 20 minus 11 is 9, and then that would be times by 2 because there's a multiplier. Now, that would mean I would get -18, which would really hurt. Now, if I had 2 multipliers, it would be even worse. Then it would be -9 times 3, so I'd have -27. So you can see these multipliers are extremely important. If you lay down a multiplier, make sure you complete that expedition. But let's just, we're just going to get into it and let you can see how it's going to work. So, what you're going to do is, you have to play a card, and then you have to pick up a card. Now, you can either launch an expedition, which will go in front of you, or you can put a card in the middle of the table. Now, if you put a card down in the middle of the table, in the respective colored piles, you can no longer pick up that card. However, your opponent can. So you're going to be like, ooh, do I want to start an expedition, or do I want to lay down this, or do I want to risk giving them a card? This will be one of those games where you're going to be pulling teeth every single turn because you don't know what to do. The last major thing I need to mention is you have to go in numerical order when you're starting your expedition. So let's go back to the yellows, for example. Say I lay down this yellow 6 first. That's not really the best starting because I'm going to get 6 points. Normally you say, all right, but you can lay down this 3 and 2 you have. No, you can't. Because once you put a 6 down, I have to lay a 7, an 8, a 9, or a 10. You have to keep going down numerically. So obviously when I start this, I want to lay this 2 down. And then I can lay this 3 down. And then I can lay this 6. Now, if I pick up the yellow 5, I won't be able to lay it, unfortunately, because I'm already to 6. So that's how that mechanic works. When you start laying down these cards, you'll be like, oh, I got 7 and 8. But you'll be like, oh, dang, but I got a multiplier. I want to play the multiplier. Nope, the multiplier actually has to start the expedition. So if you have 2s or you have multipliers, those are great ways to start an expedition. Another hint I want to give you is you don't want to spread yourself too thin. If you have 5 expeditions going at one time, you are probably going to lose points unless you just have a fantastic hand. When you're first starting out, I'd recommend 3 expeditions. If you need to catch up, I would definitely consider going to 4. But let's just go over a quick hand or two so you can get a feel for the game. So I'm going to start off, and I don't want to give my opponent any cards. I'm going to lay down my yellow 2, and then I'm going to pick up a card, and I got a yellow or a white 2, which is a pretty good card. So as you can see right now, I have a 2, a 9, and a 10 in my white pile. So right now, I have 21 points for white. Minus the 20, I'm guaranteed at least 1 point here. So I'm probably going to get some good points on this because we still have to go through all these cards. The round ends once the last card has been picked up. So as soon as the last card is picked up, that round is over. But either way, I'm getting ahead of myself. I lay down my 2, and now it's my opponent's turn. So let's see what they got. They have a decent hand. Actually, no, they don't. They don't have a very good hand. So they're going to be sitting there and be like, oh, I don't know what to do. They're going to win. They're going to want to buy some time. So what they're going to do is they're probably going to lay down this yellow multiplier. Because, as I mentioned, you have to lay a multiplier first. So they know I can't pick this up and use it because I've already laid my 2. So they'll say, ha-ha, I'll lay this multiplier. You can pick it up, but it's not going to help you at all. And then I will draw a new card, which might help me, but unfortunately they got another yellow multiplier, which really isn't going to help them too much right now. So next, I'm looking at my cards, I'm saying, there's some good stuff here. I'm thinking about laying down this white card, but really what I want to do is wait for a white multiplier. Because I have 21 points already, I'm like, this can get me a lot of points. So I'm going to lay down my yellow 3. This card will not hurt me at all because that's the next in the numerical order. I got 2, 3. Who knows, maybe I might pick up the yellow 4. I'll draw another card, and looky there, I got a yellow 5, so that's great. I can put that with my yellow 6, and I am set to go for my next round. So you're going to keep doing that. You're going to keep laying down hands and all this sort of thing until all the cards are gone. Here's another couple more things I want to hit on. There's a couple elements of strategy here. When the deck starts to get low, and I should mention, you can count the discard or the pile as many times as you want because that will come into play because you're going to have cards in your hand that you need to lay. So what you're going to do is you're going to count these and see how many turns you think you're going to have. And also, if you want to get a couple more turns, you can start picking up cards you don't even want. So like, say if this round's about to be over and I'm like, I really don't want to draw from this pile because I need to extend this round a little bit, you can play a card down and then you can pick up this card, which is useless to you, but it might buy you an extra turn. The only thing I haven't mentioned is there is a 20-point bonus you also have to calculate in. If you can get 8 of the 9 numbers for any particular color, so you got 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 9, 10, and you just missed the 7, you will gain an additional 20 points at the end of the round. And once we get to the end of the round, what you're going to do is you're going to tabulate up your scores, everybody's scores, and you're going to add them up. So you might have -2 here, plus 10 here, and then plus 20 here, which would be 20, 10 is 30, and then you get -2, so you'd have 28, and then I might have 26. You write that down, and then you can play as many rounds as you want. I personally like 3 rounds. Some people like more rounds. You can play just one heads-up cutthroat. You can do it any manner of ways. And that is how you play Lost Cities. Alright, Lost Cities from Rio Grande Games. What are my final thoughts? Let's go over the pros. Let's go over the cons. Let's start on the con side. On the con side, it is only a 2-player game. That's a big nitpick. You know, it's obviously designed from the ground up to be a 2-player game, but it's a fun game. Spoiler alert. So I would have liked if you could play with more, but it's a great 2-player game. Also, the board is a little bit wonky. It's not the best board. And that's it. That's the only complaints I have about this game. This is a fantastic game. I love this game. It is one of my fiance's favorite games. It's a good game to bring non-gamers into because they'll really enjoy it. You're probably going to crush them the first couple times you play, but once they get into it, it's addictive. This game is an addictive, fun, open game that is not too intimidating for any non-gamer to play. Let's go over what else I like. I like the artwork. I dig the artwork. All the different colored cards. They're nice size cards. They're big. I love the game mechanics. I love the strategy. This is one of those games where every single move you make is going to be like pulling teeth. You're going to be like, I don't want to give you this card, but I don't want to lay down this card, and I don't want to do this, and I don't want to do that. Every decision you make is going to be a hard decision that can and probably will affect the outcome of the game. Lost Cities from Rio Grande Games is probably my favorite 2-player game that I have played ever. It is a fantastic game. I would highly recommend it for anyone, especially if you're trying to get your spouse or a friend into gaming and 2-player gaming. Give this game a shot. Lost Cities from Rio Grande Games should be on your shelf. Go buy it. If you enjoyed this review, please be sure to subscribe to my channel. Thanks for your time, YouTube.
That was the review for Lost Cities. For more reviews, check back at Bauer's Game Corner.